Hello Pythonians. Till now we have learned about some of the basic stuff in Python like variables, their data types and different inbuilt operations related to these data types. Now we will gradually move towards application of all this knowledge. If you are beginner in Python, I would encourage you to watch all the previous lectures first. Consider Python is a good friend of yours who is going to provide you solutions for all your technical challenges. The only condition is you need to learn how to communicate with Python. In this particular lecture, we are going to learn about if-else statements. Let's consider this variable x and its value 9. Now where do we use this if condition? If we want to execute some block of code when a particular condition is true, in that case we use this if statement. And how do we execute this if statement? So like this, if space, and after that I have written this condition over here, x equal to 9. In our previous lecture we have learned that equal to checks the equality between two values. So here I am checking if x is equal to 9. Yes, the answer is true, and after that I am putting this double colon over here. That means my if statement is finished over here. And if this if statement is true, then I need to execute the following code. This code, print this is my favorite number. Now this particular piece of code will only get executed when this condition is true, and this particular piece of code is outside of this if block. That means it will be executed every time even the condition is true or false. So to put this particular code inside if blocks, we have used this indentation over here, and this code is out of indentation. That means it is outside of if block. So let's run this code, and here this is the output in which the statement inside the if block is printed and the statement which is outside of if block is also printed. Now this statement is printed because this condition is true. What will happen if this condition will become false? That means if I check equality between x equal to 10, it will give us only one line which was outside of this if block. So this particular block of code will not get executed because this condition is false now. Let's make this if condition as it was before. Now if I change the value of x is equal to 8, now if I run this code, the statement inside the if block won't be executed because now the value of x is not equal to 9. That's why only the line which is outside of indentation will be printed. Now we can also tell Python that if all the conditions we are providing are false, then you go in else block. Else block will execute it if and only if all the conditions above are false. That means if this condition is false, it will not execute this part, but it will go to else part, and here it will print this line. So you can see this else block part is also printed, and the line which is outside of this all if else block is also printed. By this way we can use if and else statement. Now here is another example. 9 is my favorite number, but now the value of x is not 9, this is 8. I want to check whether the value of this x is at least nearby my favorite number. So to check that, I will add one more if clause. And how do I do that? For that, Python provides us this elif statement. So elif means else if. So here if I write elif x equal to 8, so this condition is true, and if this condition is true, what I will print that to achieve my favorite number I just need to add 1 to this. Now let's run this code. Now you can see first statement was false, second statement was true, that's why this line is printed, and else statement is not printed because in all these conditions, if any of these conditions get true, else part will not get executed. Else part will only get executed if all of these conditions are false. So here this condition becomes true, that's why else part is not printed, and as you see this part will be always there because it is outside of if else block. By this way, we can use if, elif and else condition. And like this, we can also use multiple elif block. So for example, I can also add second elif block over here. Like this, if x is greater than equal to 7, I think this condition is true. So let's see if this condition will get printed or not. Here, this condition is not printed because in this entire if, elif and else block, wherever we find the true condition, the program will stop going further. This condition is true, that's why the program executed this line and it will not proceed further. It will not go to these conditions. So that's why this block of code is not printed over here. So I hope you have understood this if, elif and else condition. Now let's move to more interesting subtopic of this if else condition. This is called conditional expression or one-liner if else. That means, as the name says, one-liner if else. Here we can define if and else statement in one line. So to do this, there is a specific format. At first, we need to write a piece of code that needs to be executed if the condition is true. And then we need to write the actual condition. Then we need to write else condition, and after that, the piece of code that needs to be executed under else condition. So if I run this, you will see that x equal to 9 is false condition right now. That's why this line is not printed. And this line is printed, which is else. Now let's say x equal to 8. Now this condition is true. So this line is printed. Let's change it back to its original statement and we will add elif condition in the same expression. How to do that? Elif condition is nothing but nested else condition. So in this situation, inside else, we need to write this elif condition, and for that just concentrate on the part after this else. Here we will write the statement that we need to print if our elif condition is true, like this, and then we will write the actual elif condition with one more if clause, this one, and then for that elif we will use else condition also, and inside this else we will write our usual else block. Let's print this. Here you can see that this condition was true, that's why this part is printed. But what if this condition also false and this condition also false? In that case, this else should be printed. So let's change this condition to this one, and you can see this else part is printed over here. So that's how we use one line to write all if, elif and else conditions. But I will not recommend this one-liner if else because the code is not readable in this situation, where in this situation code is more readable and each of these conditions can be visible in single look. I hope you have understood if, elif and else condition and also one-liner if else. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.